All right. Well, that was a good testimonial. It wasn't planned either, believe it or not.
No, that's fabulous. Totally
Yes, sir.
fabulous.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do is move into our subject for tonight and continue on our leadership series. And I am learning a tremendous amount from this series, and I'm trying to implement all the things I'm learning to just become a better leader and better sponsor and better support for everyone on our team. So what I want to do now is turn it back over to my partner in crime here, Dr. Fran, and he's going to continue the leadership series on, what's the subject for tonight?
The subject for tonight is the law of process. We're doing the 21 laws of leadership.
Awesome. Law of process. Okay, take it away, Dr. Fran.
Well, thanks so much. And, well, Larry, how much fun was that to hear that story? And, folks, I hope you listened to what he said. Within 30 minutes, he earned the bonuses that offset the decision to upgrade to 3. There's nothing more powerful. If you're not on 3 cases, all of that money bypasses you. If you're on 3 cases, it all stops at you as you come up in the genealogy for payout.
I'm sorry to interrupt again, but this is important. He was within 30 seconds that happened. However, I mean 30 minutes. But if he had a delayed 30 minutes, he would not have got that.
I know.
Okay,
I would have. Larry. No, because the thing is, see, I got my money because Larry upgraded. That was awesome fun. So, it really, it all works, guys. Get on 3 cases and don't worry about a thing because you are in the flow at that point, and it's all good. But let's get on to leadership tonight. And
I'm sorry, he raised his hand again. I think he's got something else to say.
I'm sorry. I thought I was lowering it down.
Okay.
I didn't have anything. I was just laughing anyway.
Okay. Okay, well, you got to stop having so much fun, Larry. Just cut that out.
All right.
Okay. All right, Dr. Fran. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. So tonight, folks, we're going to talk about the law of process in the development of leadership. And the subline for law of process is that leadership develops daily, but not in a day. So I want you to keep that in the back of your mind. It develops daily, but not in a day. And I'm going to kind of tell you a story that will, I think, encapsulate the essence of the law of process. Now, there was a woman named Ann Scheiber, and Ann Scheiber was 101 years old when she died in January 1995. Now, Ann Scheiber lived on Social Security. Nobody knew who she was. She had a small monthly pension that she started receiving in 1943 when she retired as an auditor for the IRS. Now, when she retired at the age of 51, she was making $3,150 a year back in 1943. Now, Ann Scheiber was, however, a model of thrift. She did not have a lot of money. She didn't earn a lot of money. But for years she lived in a tiny, rundown, rent-controlled studio apartment in Manhattan where her rent was $400 a month. She didn't spend any money on herself. And what she did, though, was once a week she would go to the public library and read the Wall Street Journal. Now, no one had ever heard of Ann Scheiber until she became a legend literally overnight. Now, how did she do that? Well, she did that because Ann Scheiber, who never attended a little university in New York City named Yeshiva, left her entire estate to Yeshiva University. Now, what's remarkable about that is that the estate that Ann Scheiber left to Yeshiva University was worth $22 million. So you might say to yourself, well, how in the world did Ann Scheiber, who had been retired for 50 years, build an 8-figure fortune out of a $3,150 a year, not a month, folks, a year income? Well, here's the answer. At the time she retired from the IRS in 1943, Ann Scheiber had managed to save $5,000. She invested that money in the stock market. Now, the secret to Scheiber's success was that she spent most of her life building her worth. And it mattered not to her whether her stock values went up or down. She never sold off anything. She never got the thought, well, I'm finished now, it's time to cash out. Ann was in it for the long haul. I mean, the really long haul. And whenever she earned her dividends, she kept getting larger and larger dividends, as you can imagine. She continually reinvested them. And so she literally spent her entire lifetime building her net worth. And so the story here is, the message, the takeaway, when it came to her finances, Ann Scheiber understood and applied the law of process. And leadership is a lot like investing. It compounds in its paybacks to you. And becoming a leader is a lot like successfully investing in the stock market. And if your hope is to make a fortune in a day, don't count on it, because you're not going to be very successful. What matters most is what you do day by day over a long haul. The secret of our success as leaders is found in our daily agenda. And if you continually invest in your leadership development, letting your, quote, assets grow, the inevitable result is long-term stable growth and appreciation over time. Now, people inevitably come up to me and ask whether leaders are born. And I always say, of course they're born. I've never met one that came into our world any other way. And we all laugh about that. But, you know, folks, the real question is, pardon me, that came from my toes. You know, there's an adage and a belief out there that people would love to think is real, that leadership is an innate quality that some people either possess or don't, that, you know, you're either a born leader or not. And, you know, now it's true. It's really true that some people are born with some natural gifts that may be better and more applicable to successful leadership than other individuals. But the real truth is, the real reality is, the ability to lead is nothing more than a collection of skills. And all of them can be learned and continually improved. And that process of learning and improving doesn't happen overnight. Leadership is complicated, and I think we all can access or understand that. But it has many facets: respect, experience, emotional strength, people skills, discipline, vision, momentum, timing, to name you know, to name a few. The list is, you know, longer than that for sure. But many of the factors that come into play in leadership are truly intangibles, and that's why leaders really require so much seasoning or application or practice to be effective. And, you know, today at 63 is the first that I'm really beginning to feel that I understand a lot of the aspects of leadership with clarity, and hopefully can apply them better and with more success. Now, there's a study that took place a few years ago where they studied the top leaders from a variety of fields. And they made a discovery that there was a definite linear relationship between growth and learning and leadership. And the summary of the study was that it was the capacity to develop and improve their skills that distinguished leaders from their followers. Now that's an important statement. The capacity to develop and improve their skills distinguishes leaders from their followers. What's that tell you, folks? All of us are leaders. We have the innate abilities to be leaders. You, every one of us on the phone, and I have to applaud those of you that are actively on the phone and those of you that will listen to this training in a replay. You are leaders. Your very action defines you and identifies you as a leader. Successful leaders are learners. The learning process is an ongoing result of self-discipline and perseverance. Leadership takes place day by day, but it doesn't take place in a day. The goal each day should be to get a little better, to build on the success and the knowledge that you gained the previous day, and to continually have never-ending improvement and progress. Now, there's 4 phases of leadership growth, so I hope you're taking some notes. Phase number 1 is characterized by the comment, I don't know what I don't know. And most people fail to recognize the value of leadership. They believe that leadership is only for those few people, for the few people at the very top of whatever group, organization, company, etc. They have no idea of the opportunity that they're missing on a daily basis when they don't learn that they, in fact, are leaders, and when they don't allow themselves to learn to exercise that leadership. And this point was driven home when I observed that only a handful of students at my college signed up for a leadership course offered by the school. And when the school did a survey to try and figure out why that course was so undersubscribed, it was quite enlightening. Very few of the students thought of themselves as leaders. Now, if they had only known the second law of leadership, that leadership is influence, we trained on that last week, and that in the course of every day, most individuals usually try to influence at least 4 other people, their desire might have been sparked to learn more about their ability to be a leader. It's unfortunate because as long as a person doesn't know what he doesn't know, he doesn't reach and he doesn't grow. You're in a stage of what I call unconscious incompetence. The good news is we can grow out of that phase and move into phase 2 simply by recognizing that we don't know what we don't know. And when you move into phase 2, that is characterized by the comment, I know what I don't know. And when we realize that we need to learn how to lead, that it is a skill. It's like riding a bicycle. How many people on this phone successfully can ride a bicycle today? How many of those same people who said, yeah, I can ride a bicycle today, how many of you successfully rode a bicycle the very first time you got on a bicycle? I hazard to say, not any of us. And, once we realize that we need to learn how to lead, that it is a skill, that's when it becomes possible for the law of process to start. Disraeli wisely commented, to be conscious that you are ignorant of the facts is the first great step to knowledge. That prompted me to start observing leaders when I realized that I didn't know how to be a leader. So I started to watch leaders and study leaders, people that I viewed as leaders, and began learning from them. That led me to phase 3 of the 4 phases of leadership growth. And this is characterized by the comment, I grow and know, and it's starting to show. When you recognize your lack of skill and you begin the daily discipline of personal growth in leadership skills, exciting things really do start to happen for you and in your life. And I want to tell you a secret that's going to change every one of your lives on the phone here tonight. You're the first to know it until the rest listen to this on replay. I want you to believe and know that in time you will be a good leader and potentially even a great leader. I want to encourage you to make yourself a lifelong learner of leadership skills. Read those books, listen to tapes, attend seminars, and whenever you come across a little nugget of truth, a kernel of wisdom, a significant quote, make it a point to write it down, memorize it, or file it away for the future. And that's the whole secret, folks. Leadership doesn't develop in a day. It develops day by day. And if you simply do this, you all can be a good or great leader. And again, it doesn't happen in a day, but you can start paying the price day by day. Start developing your leadership abilities today, and very shortly you will experience the positive effects and the returns inherent in this law of process. All right, I had to change phones. That phone was going to die. Am I still live?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Phase 4, I simply go because of what I know. And, when you're in phase 3, where you are growing and knowing and doing it by direct application of the knowledge and the learning and the skills that you're developing, you can become pretty effective as a leader. But you still are actively thinking about, in most cases, every move you make. It's all contrived, or not contrived, but it's all a directed action on your part where you're really applying the knowledge that you have gained and applying and practicing the skills that you've learned. And I'm sure you can understand that analogy. When you get to phase 4, you know it. And you know it because your ability to lead becomes virtually automatic. The best thing that I can say is, how many of us drive a car? And, when you first learn to drive a car, man, are you conscious of everything? How fast you turn the wheel, how fast you push the brake pedal, how fast you push the gas pedal, turning, looking around, making sure, paying attention to the cars around you, the speed limit. And you're conscious of everything that you're doing and everything going on around you. And after you've driven for 4 or 5 years or 10 years, or in many of our cases for 40 years, how many people drive down the road steering with their knees, adjusting the radio with one hand, and talking on your cell phone with the other? That is the state of phase 4. You are in a state known as unconscious competence. Now, if you remember back in phase 1, we all start out in a phase of unconscious incompetence. So the end result of practice and application and learning and skill development, phase 4, a state of unconscious competence, and everything becomes automatic. That's when the payoff is larger than life. And the only way to get there, folks, is to obey this law of process, apply it day by day, and be willing to pay that price of practice and deliberate intention. Because the payoff is, to lead tomorrow, you need to learn today. Leadership is developed daily, as I said, but not in a day. But the good news is that leadership ability is not static. No matter where you start from, you can get better. And if you want to be a leader, and I think hopefully you're starting to get an idea that that is a state that every one of you wants to be in, and to view yourselves and be a leader. The good news is that you can do it. Every one of you has the potential if you're willing to persevere. And that's all it requires, is practice and perseverance. And never ignore the law of process. Leadership doesn't develop in a day. It takes a lifetime. And next we're going to train on the 4th law of leadership, the law of navigation. So if you enjoyed this, tell your friends, invite them to our conference next week live, and we'll have a lot of fun together. With that, Kesper, I'll turn it back to you.